Welcome to Podula Rasa. I'm David Blank.
And I'm Jim Esch.
This is a podcast about finding something in nothing.
Hello.
Hello. This week on Podula Rasa, I'm pleased to be interviewing my daughter, Leah Blank, who is joining us from Gettsville, New York, about 25 feet away from me right now.
In the other room.
In the other room, right. And so welcome, Leah.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for wanting to do this. I thought I would start our conversation out and let it meander wherever it meanders. But I thought I would start on my 50th birthday when I gave you a guitar. And
oh, good one.
and you didn't play it for a while. And I thought I had sort of missed the boat on getting you interested in music. And then all of a sudden you started playing and you've become quite a good musician. And I wanted to ask you what happened, what made you start playing?
Okay. Oh, this is an interesting question. I like this. So when I first got it, I didn't really know what to do with it, like how to start, I guess. So I kind of let it just sit in my room and collect dust. But we had a music class. I think it was in 7th grade. I had a teacher that was teaching us how to play guitar. And I had remembered a few basics from when you and I played a little bit in the beginning.
Yep.
And so I was already ahead of the whole class because nobody else knew how to play. And I got hundreds in every assignment for that class. And it just got me so motivated. And I was like, wow, I'm actually good at this. I could do this. And I started learning chords and practicing them and learning more chords and then starting bar chords, which are harder for people who don't know how to play the guitar. It's just, it's more difficult. It's a different type of chord. And I just kept going and going. And I remember the last day of that class when it ended, you had asked me, oh, did you play the guitar today in music? Because I had been telling you about it. And I was like, no, the class ended. And you had said, oh, well, I think you should go play your guitar or something. And I went up and you had brought me this new strap for my guitar. And I was like, what? Because at the music store a couple weeks ago, we had gone to the music store and I was like, wow, this is a really cool strap. And I just made an offhand comment about it. And you had went back and got it.
That's right. We were in Hanover Strings.
Yeah.
Trying to fix my dad's Framus.
That's right. Yeah.
And they, I don't think they fixed it, but they held on to it for a while. Somebody fixed it. It was another store in West Lebanon.
Blue Mountain Guitar.
Blue Mountain Guitar fixed it. And so we were picking it up and I think we were just looking around and you picked that out. So I came back later and picked it up.
Yeah. I don't know if it was initially that maybe it was that you had gotten it for me that sort of got me motivated to start playing. But I think it was just the fact that I figured out how I like to play or that I could play things that I could keep making progress. That was really inspiring me to keep playing because I was learning all these new things and learning how to do different strum patterns. And it was a lot of wow, I'm actually doing this. And I don't know, I love being able to learn new things. And that was something that was boom, 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 boom,
It's yes, I do. It's very reminiscent of how I started playing too, because I basically taught myself. I took a few lessons, but mostly I just figured things out by myself. And throughout my entire life of playing guitar, really, which goes back 45 years or so right now, I've gone through plateaus. And it's I'll figure something out, and it sounds really good, and I think, okay, I can do that. And then I'll go for a while, and then I'll figure something else out, and it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I won't play my guitar for a year. Not these days, but there have been times. But it's sort of the same sort of process where you learn something and it motivates you and pushes you to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
with regard to bar chords, I've noticed that you picked them up really fast because they're hard, especially when you're first starting to play. And you're not first starting to play anymore, but some people really always have trouble with them, and you're really doing them,
Thank you.
and it's
Thank you.
impressive. It's
Yeah.
impressive. So who do you like to play now?
Who do I like to play? Like,
yeah, what songs?
oh, right now I'm trying to learn "Make Me Your Queen" by Declan McKenna. It's such a wonderful song, and I don't know what it is. It's just like the tempo and how it's not okay. So with some songs, it falls into a pattern of like 3 strums of this, 2 strums of this, 3 strums of this, 2 strums of this. But with this song, there's tempo changes, and it goes da 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 da, da like whatever. It changes the rhythm, and I'm really it's really getting me into one of those peaks where I'm like, oh, I'm learning something. That's what I'm liking playing right now.
You ever find
also,
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say also "Uncomfortable" by the Wallows. It's really fun to play because I like the sound of it. But go ahead.
I also wanted to ask you, when you're learning a song, do you ever make it your own while you're playing it, or do you try to make it sound just like the artist?
I usually only make it my own in vocals. If I can't reach the range, then I try to do something else that sounds good. I don't think I've reached the point yet where I can sort of improvise. I'm working on it. I'm trying to add some more picking into chords and all that. I'm realizing this is probably going to sound like bogus to anybody who doesn't play guitar. I'm trying to add more complexity to how I'm playing, but it takes a lot of practice before I can try to involve that into other pieces that I'm playing.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
I think I sort of do the same thing, but I think of it as making it my own, because in a way, when I do that, if it doesn't sound exactly like the recording, that's okay, because it sounds better to me.
Yeah. I'm really right now with me playing the guitar, I'm in such a learning period. I'm not in a plateau. I'm really at a peak where I'm just like learning. And it's so fun. It's such a relaxing hobby and thing to do. And sometimes I notice I pick up the guitar and all of a sudden I just feel stress. And that is when I usually stop playing for a little while and just let it be. Because if I'm at the point where something that I love doing makes me like so uncomfortable when I'm just even thinking about doing it, it's time to set it down and let it like rest a little bit, because it either means that I'm pushing myself too much and giving myself too high of standards, and I need to let those go, or it's stressing me out, or there's just so many different reasons why it could make me bonkers. But like whenever I have a hobby and it just feels so uncomfortable to be near it or do it, it's just time to let it go for a little while and focus on something else.
That sounds very healthy to me.
Yeah.
You're also very good in the visual arts and painting and drawing. Do you find the same thing there?
I find periods where I don't do anything at all. So I guess there are like peaks and plateaus, like with guitar. It's more natural with painting and art, I would say, because if I don't have an idea or if I don't have a feeling, then I don't even think to pick it up at all. I don't regularly go to my sketchbooks or anything. If I have a vision or I want to do something, or I'm thinking about something, then I'm going to pick it up, but it's more like spur of the moment type thing instead of picking it up and then feeling stress.
So your process is quite different for music and art.
Yeah, but it has the same sort of peaks and plateaus of learning and then letting it rest. And I think there's something to be said about having periods of learning and growth and then letting that sit and not quite doing anything with it yet, but just letting it be in your subconscious and letting it percolate and simmer and just stir up other ideas and make connections. And one day you'll come back to it and think, wow, look at this thing I've created, or look at this idea, because that skill or that learning period allowed you to have a plateau where you could think about other things and therefore involve that peak with another peak. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
Make connections between hobbies or different art forms.
Well, but they can all be hobbies. They don't have to be a professional endeavor.
Yeah.
But do you think that maybe doing it that way, that it takes the stress out of it, maybe more than you would if you just decided this is what I'm going to do, and then be like single-minded about it for as long as it took to get to be the best in that field? Because some people do things that way.
Yeah, I think for me, it would be so damaging to ever make something that I find a hobby a job, because then I would be forced to do that. That would be how I make my income. That's how I make my living. That's what I'm supposed to do every single day. I think that if I ever love something, that it would need to be curiosity that drove it and not just the love of doing it.
So do you think if you ever did make art or music a career, that you would enjoy it less?
I don't know, but I don't think I ever will pursue those as a career option. So it's just, it doesn't seem natural. It always seems like I should be playing my guitar in my room at night, just while nobody's awake. Just that's when my inspiration hits, or that's when I love to play my favorite songs. That's what feels natural or right when I'm picking up the guitar. But when I think about career paths or anything like that, it's stuff that really takes thinking and invigorates me and makes my mind want to go. And when I pick up my guitar, it's just when I like slow down, think about nothing. It's almost meditative when I do my hobbies. And I don't think that making something meditative mandatory would be helpful.
Okay, that makes sense. As you were describing your process, I was thinking back to when I first started playing, and I was probably 15, 16 years old. And I had an electric guitar that my dad had gotten as part of some kind of a promotion at his work. And I also had the Framus that you've seen, that old guitar. And
yeah.
This will make your grandmother laugh, who's a listener. So hi, Mom. But they used to come in occasionally at 11:30 at night and tell me to stop playing, because I would be sitting in my bed just with the lights out, just trying to play. And,
yeah.
Even with my electric guitar, but they could still hear it because it was just across the hall. It wasn't plugged in or anything, but it was enough that it was annoying. And so I did exactly the same thing. It was just like that's when it would strike me at basically at your age. Same.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought about that in a long time. It's kind of funny.
I actually remember you telling me that story. I love that one.
Yeah. Wow. So.
I just, it's not only for relaxation that I go to my guitar or go to art or go to one of my other hobbies. It's also when there needs to be some sort of release or emotional, or there's been emotional buildup or mental stress, and I just need to write a bad song about it, or just fiddle around with chords until I feel like I have let go some of the baggage I was holding.
As you write more songs and write and compose more music, you'll find, I think, that unless if you're like me, you'll probably leave a lot of things half finished, and that includes like known songs that people would practice till they got it perfect. I get to a point with some of them that I'm done, and even though it's not perfect, I've done enough and it's good enough, and then I go on to something else. But especially with things that I compose.
Yeah, I have a lot of sets of lyrics that have no chorus or no other things. It's just like a couple lyrics that I put some music to. And I'm trying to learn that not everything has to be finished and polished, because when I have those good lyrics or I have that inspiration to write, I sometimes feel stressed that, oh no, I'm not going to finish it. And that could be a reason why I put down my guitar, because I can't think about it in a way that's like, it doesn't have to be a finished song. It doesn't have to be anything other than what it is. So
could it be just a poem?
It could be. It could be a musical poem. I don't know. I'm trying to make myself realize that things don't have to always be polished or finished.
That's good, because that takes a lot of stress off of you.
Yeah.
You can decide when it's done.
Especially when it's something that I like to do rather than something that I have to do. Like for stuff for school, I always like to make sure that my stuff is finished and polished and clean and perfect, because you want to get a good grade or you want to be good in that class or you're really interested in the subject, whatever. But when it comes to things that I enjoy, it doesn't always have to be instant or perfect or clean or anything that I listed before. Like for reading, I really love to read, and it's just one of my favorite hobbies. But sometimes I get to the point where I'm like, why haven't I finished this book? Why it's been taking me forever, and this is just so stupid. I love reading. Why is this taking me so long? And then I'm realizing I'm not really enjoying the story. I'm just trying to get through the pages.
Right.
So that's when I have to take a step back from reading, or when I'm looking at my artwork and I'm like, I'm not enjoying this and I'm just doing this because I want to put something down on a page, but I don't want to do this right now, and that's when I get sick of what I'm doing with art. There has to be a point where it's like you have to enjoy your hobby or else it's not worth it anymore.
That's very true. I think it's also true with whatever you end up deciding to do for a job or in your life or whatever. You have to have that basic sense of enjoyment that keeps you there.
Yeah.
So who are your favorite authors right now?
Authors. I love Leigh Bardugo with her fantasy series, The Grishaverse. It's phenomenal. If any of you are looking for a good fantasy recommendation, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom are the best books on this entire universe. So much so that I have 2 copies of both books. No, but I don't really shop by authors. There are certain authors that are like, oh yes, gravitate towards them.
It's more of a genre of what you're into.
Yeah, it's more genre based than anything else. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm looking for something and I'm like, ooh, I'd really like a dystopian, that's what pops into my brain. I don't think Shannon Messenger or Sarah J. Maas, stuff like that. So it's more genre based for me, I guess.
I was like that with Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist.
Right.
We read that together, didn't we? I think.
Yeah. Like half read it, I think.
Half read it. We should finish it. It's a good book.
Yeah.
But I found that book, and it's one of the few books that I've actually read through cover to cover, full disclosure, including chemistry books. But I fell in love with that author, and I've read a lot of things by him, and none of them were quite as good as The Alchemist. But yeah. Richard Bach was another one. I either have or had a lot of copies of his books in paperback. He wrote Illusions, which I think I probably gave to you at some point and said, you really should read this, but I don't know if you ever did. But this is such a weird time for me because I don't even really know what I have, because we're in the middle of a move. We suffered through the flood in our basement, and I'm not really sure. It's been long enough that I'm just not really sure what didn't get trashed.
Yeah.
When Mom and I went through stuff, we were just throwing things away. Just things that I had signed posters from rock concerts that were just wet and runny, and I dumped it. I didn't even try to save it. So weird how my perspective changed on these things I thought I was going to keep forever, and then I threw them away literally in an instant when I probably could have. I don't know. It's done now. But
do you have regrets about throwing those things away?
No, it's kind of freeing in a way, because I think they were anchors for me, just weighing them. I mean, they were literally anchors, weighing me down.
Anchors to what?
Maybe living a life without having to have those things like curated, even though I was not a good curator of them at all. I mean, obviously they got trashed in the end, but there were things like I had my dad's old lab notebooks that he had written in. He'd signed them, and I was just keeping them, but they were in like the way back part of our basement, and they got destroyed. And I guess I always thought I was just going to hang on to them because he'd written in them. And then in a moment, I just thought, what am I keeping this for? And out it went. It's not like it was going to bring him back.
That's true.
He's been gone for almost 18 years. I still miss him. Yeah. But that having the notebook doesn't make me feel any closer to him than now that I don't have it.
Right.
It's the same.
It's funny how there are some things that really didn't mean as much as you thought they did, and then there are some things that mean so much more than you thought they did. Like, for example, when you got your new phone, there was some backup error, and we looked through your photos and like the grand scheme of them, like going year by year, and there were literal blank spots in your camera roll, and it was just like a heartbreaking moment because even though you don't scroll through your camera roll that much, sometimes you do, and sometimes you want to look back at old cute pictures of me. I don't know. But it was just sort of heartbreaking because you never quite knew what you were losing.
Right, exactly. Because I hadn't looked at it.
Right.
And it was gone.
And it was gone, and you'd never know. You could never back them up again. But luckily for this situation, those things did come back, and I think it just took a little time for the SIM card to fully process them or something. I don't know. But there are no blank spaces anymore. And
yeah, that's weird. I mean, I'm not sure, but you know what? Even if I did lose pictures, I have some of them. So
yeah.
I'll back up my phone, and because I'm one of those stupid people who ran out of their free storage for the iCloud account, and I've been getting messages literally for 5 or 7 years saying that I don't have any storage and I should buy it. And what I wouldn't give to have paid the $100 a year or whatever it is to have all that stuff backed up now automatically, because some of it's gone. Like in the flood, we lost a lot of phones that I was only keeping because they were like memory devices, and but they got wet and they sat in water for several days and they were just trashed. And so the memories were gone. I think I couldn't boot them up again. Yeah, but I don't know why I wanted to hang on to everything. Like, what difference does it make anyway? It's in my head. If it doesn't, but it's nice to have those things, I guess.
Yeah. Things are weird. Things are funny. Because it's just, I don't know about anybody else listening to this podcast, but I know for me and you, when we look at something and we're like, should I keep this or should I throw this away? If there's a slight attachment or a memory associated with it, it's very hard.
Yeah.
Like, there is a sticker stuck to my desk of, okay, hold on, let me back up a little bit. So my mom got me this cookie that was like a moon pie cookie or something. And she said, I got this for you because it reminded me of when you were a little kid and you'd make these moony eyes when you were really happy. And on the pastry box, there was a little sticker that said moon pie or something. And it's stuck to my desk right now because I just remember that. And I'm like, oh, moony eyes, and it's, even though it's a literal receipt for a baked good that's been long gone, it's stuck to my desk because it just makes me think, oh yeah. But even if I didn't have this stuck to my desk, once in a while I would look at the moon and think, oh, moony eyes,
Right.
The fact that there was a slight emotion or memory attached to that makes it kind of hard to part with it or throw it in the trash or whatever.
Because you think in some way maybe you're disrespecting it by tossing it. Yeah. I wish I didn't feel so attached to so much of that stuff. But in a way, the last 4 to 6 months has made me a lot less attached. And even before that, I mean, you remember the basement before we refinished it the first time.
Yeah.
We had trash bags full of McDonald toys from when you were a kid, from when Stosh was a kid.
Right.
I mean, and we threw a lot of it away. But it was like, what were we saving it for? He's going to come back and say, oh, I really needed that Rugrats toy that had the the thing with the wheels on it or whatever, but it was just crazy. Although I wish I had some of the toys that I collected in the 70s when I was a kid, like the Hamburglar, and like those things are probably worth money. They're all gone. But I think
Yeah.
everybody goes through that. I remember my dad telling me about stuff that he had stowed away in his mother's attic, and he came home one time and she had thrown it all away.
Oy.
Which just all got like model airplanes that he built when he was a kid in the 30s, in the 40s,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That'd be really awesome to have. But I guess nothing's permanent. Maybe that's the lesson
Yeah.
you have right now, if you're lucky. And lately, I've been feeling very lucky to have
Yeah.
this present moment, especially with you and your mom, and on the weekends with your brother when I get to FaceTime with him.
Yeah.
It's nice. And with grandma when she's here or when we're talking.
Yeah.
So a theme that comes back to me now and then is just being present in the moment. And I've been very successful. I feel successful at that lately. And so
Yeah.
life isn't passing me by. And
That's really
yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a natural result of where we are right now, all the changes in our lives that have been
Right.
happening. Some desired, some not. And added frustrations that come along the way, that unexpected things that just make you want to pull what's left of your hair out. And it's an interesting time. I wonder how you'll look back on this time in years to come when you're somewhere, you're at the next phase, whatever that is. And
I don't think I'll look back super fondly.
no.
I was going to say I disagree with your point that because of our certain circumstances that we're more likely to be present or in the moment. I have been dealing with the fact that I haven't been in the moment, that I've been just trying to get through the days, trying to get to that quote unquote next stage, because it's not super enjoyable to be a new kid or to be in a place that you don't know that well, or to be in a strange place that you look around and you're like, where am I? And it's very hard to be in the moment because sometimes things suck. And when you're in the moment and things suck, it's emotional and it's hard and it's difficult. And sometimes when you're still adjusting to a new place, that difficult level, that difficult factor is amplified because it's so new and you're not sure how to deal with new situations.
I understand. I think the reason I don't feel that way is because I'm not, that hasn't changed for me. My life is basically wherever we're living. I teach my classes and I do my thing, but that hasn't changed now from a year ago when we lived in New Hampshire. It was the same.
Yeah.
But I totally understand where you're coming from. It's kind of like a jolt.
Yes.
So maybe you feel like, I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but do you feel like maybe in the past you were more present in the moment because of the familiarity of everything?
I don't know. I think when we first learned that we were moving and we were starting to pack things up, and I was trying to make good memories with my friends and all these things, like I was trying to tie everything up. I think I was so much more present than I am right now. I almost feel like I was so present. It was like I could remember every moment of those last 3 months, whether I wanted to or not. Like even when it was really hard or even when it was really, really good, I could remember everything. That's what being really present does to you. You remember everything. Compared to now, which it was kind of a shock, remembering every single detail of every single day, to just wanting to get through the week. Like just plug in music, don't think about it, go, 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 go. And then all of a sudden I look back and I'm like, where'd the time go? What happened? And maybe that's just a school thing. It's just the same schedule. And I'm not used to that after a summer of a lot of changes. But it feels like I'm looking back and thinking, where's the time?
Yeah. Has it gotten better though since you moved here since the beginning?
Hmm. Being more present, you mean?
Yeah.
I think, well, I've been talking to my therapist about this stuff, about being present versus being not present, and how that, what's the trade-offs, what's the differences. And I'm trying to look at things in a different way, different perspective, and trying to find good in my days, and trying to enjoy them, even though they're not the most enjoyable thing I've ever done.
That
So
will change, by the way.
what?
That will change.
Yeah. I'm hoping so. It's just I'm trying to find gratitude and trying to find moments for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that it's starting to get better, but I don't know where I am quite yet, and that's okay. And I don't have to know where I am.
Yeah.
It's just that's where I am right now. I'm kind of like trying to figure out how to find a balance between living too much in the moment and living too little in the moment.
That makes sense. I think I remember when my parents moved my sister and I to Pennsylvania. I was 12, and I don't really remember feeling these things, but I'm sure it was like that for me because I was put into an alien landscape. I think if anything, it made things with our family a little bit closer. But and I think that, but I think like for you, mom and me, things we've been pretty close anyway. So who's to say?
I would definitely say the move brought us closer.
Yeah.
I mean, physically closer.
Right.
And
Right.
because our apartment right now is a lot smaller than our old house was. So we're physically closer, but we're also like, as a family unit, we're closer because there's maybe less time that we get to spend all together, especially with mom's work and me doing school and you being at home.
Right.
There's less time of togetherness, but when we do have that togetherness, it's precious and it's cherished.
I think that's, when we went up to Art Park that
Yeah.
day, I think that was especially special for me because of that. We were
Yeah.
together, we were doing this thing, and it was really cool, and it amplified.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
last week when grandma was here, it was amazing for me just to have us all here together. And I appreciate
Yeah.
it more than maybe I would have if we'd been in New Hampshire.
And Presque Isle.
Yeah, that was another one. Yeah,
Have you talked about Art Park on this podcast before?
I have not.
Well, ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
So we had gone to this like art installation place. It was like a park that had art installations in it, and we thought, oh, let's just walk around, see what we find there. It might be interesting. We arrived to the front entrance, and there's obviously like a park with what looks like art installations, and we're like, okay. And then we find this board that like hooks us up to a music playlist or something, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. So we'll have like a little path that we walk, and we'll also listen to some music, which is kind of cool. And to my surprise, we didn't go to the park at all. We like went off the path. We went into the woods, basically, off the on the coast of this canal, I guess.
The Niagara River.
Oh, really? Okay. I
Yeah,
thought it was just
after the falls.
after the falls, yeah.
Yeah.
And there were like boats and stuff. But I didn't expect to go that way, but we like at one point we were going through a parking lot and it was like, okay, where is this leading us? Then we started going down this path, this literal like track, and we started going down it, and there were these beautiful views. And as we walked, we were talking kind of a little bit, but as the music got more intense and like started to really come in, we were just kind of quiet, listening to our music, just sort of enjoying the fact that there was nature all around us and this beautiful resonant, not even, what kind of music was that? It was not classical, but it was like string instruments and piano and
Ambient music, I think.
yeah, it was very ambient, and it felt like every time we passed into a new song, it was like this whole different feeling, and it was so awesome and amazing. I would recommend that to anybody who's near us because it was so awesome.
It really was.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I was not expecting to see the whirlpools in the river
Right.
because the river got wide and the water started going the other way, literally, like on its
Yeah.
own. That was just stunning to see.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
And there was this point where there were boats going by that were going
Right.
really fast, and we were waving to some of them, and they were waving back, and then we realized that the boat service was actually like in the Canada side.
Right.
Like we were waving to Canadians. I was like, that's pretty cool. And then I made the joke that if we swam the canal, then we'd be like home free to Canada. And then you said, stop it. So.
Well, you're right, though. That would be
breaking into Canada.
That's a way to do it if you could survive the river.
I'm a pretty good swimmer, Dad.
Yeah, but it's pretty swift at that point.
The whirlpools are like little wee.
Right. They take you where they want to go, not where you want to go.
Well, maybe I'm the leader of the whirlpools. Okay.
Okay. The leader of the whirlpools. I'll put that on your business card.
Oh yeah, putting it on my resume.
Thank you very much for your time, Leah. It's been great chatting with you and letting the conversation just kind of flow from guitars to the champion of the Niagara River.
Yeah, that was very fun. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Sure. Well, hopefully we can do it again.
Yes, I'd love to.
And the icon for this podcast was designed by Leah.
Yes, it was.
Well, thank you. And I will see you very soon.
All right. Thank you.
Paja La Raza is produced by Dave Blank and Jim Esch from their studios in New York and Pennsylvania. Thank you to Leah Blank for her time and thoughts and for her guitar playing. Musical interludes were by David, Leah, and by both of them. Leah played a portion of Make Me Your Queen by Declan McKenna. Feel free to drop us a line at pajalarasa@gmail.com. We hope that you've enjoyed this podcast. Until next time, bye for now.